Most people think governments are controlled entirely by elected leaders and public institutions, but power rarely operates only through visible structures. Behind every government exists another layer of influence and decision-making quietly. Networks most citizens never see, because the modern world is too complex to be managed publicly alone. Real power often moves behind closed doors, and that creates one of the most fascinating realities in human civilization: the rise of hidden governments. At level 1, influence begins through advisors operating behind political leaders publicly. This level exists in every nation on Earth. Presidents, prime ministers, and monarchs rarely make decisions completely alone. They rely on experts and strategists. Because modern governments manage economies, militaries, and international systems simultaneously. No individual can control everything. And over time, advisors gain extraordinary influence over decision-making privately, sometimes more than elected officials themselves. At level 2, powerful lobbying groups begin shaping policy indirectly and strategically. This is where influence becomes organized. Major corporations, industries, and financial institutions start affecting government priorities, not through elections alone. Because political systems depend heavily on money and resources, practically, influence follows investment. And policies increasingly reflect the interests of powerful organizations quietly, long before the public notices. At level 3, think tanks become invisible architects of future policy globally. This is where ideas become power. Researchers, economists, strategists, and experts develop long-term plans privately. Plans later adopted by governments. Because every major government needs visions for the future continuously, someone must design those visions. And often the public sees only the final policy outcome, not the years of planning behind it. At level 4, international organizations begin coordinating power beyond national borders. This is where influence becomes global. Economic alliances, security partnerships, and multinational institutions gain importance. National governments become interconnected, because modern problems rarely stop at borders anymore globally. Everything affects everything else, and decision-making slowly shifts toward international cooperation and coordination, a hidden layer above politics. At level 5, elite networks begin connecting political and economic power globally. This is where the world's most influential people meet. Business leaders, political figures, strategists, and financiers build relationships privately, far away from public attention, because trust often matters more than formal authority at this level. Relationships become infrastructure, and some of the most important decisions emerge from private conversations, not public speeches. At level 6, information itself becomes the primary source of hidden power. Data replaces territory. Intelligence agencies, cyber networks, and information systems dominate strategy globally. Knowledge becomes leverage. Because controlling information increasingly means controlling outcomes politically and economically, the digital age changed power forever, and governments invest enormous resources into gathering intelligence continuously, often completely invisible to citizens. At level 7, hidden governments become systems rather than organizations entirely, a network beyond individuals. This level consists of institutions, financial systems, intelligence structures, and influence networks, layers operating across decades. Because leaders come and go, but systems remain permanently. Power outlives people. And maybe that is the most important reality about modern governments. The visible government is only part of the story. Most people imagine power as a single leader making decisions publicly, but reality is far more complex. Power flows through advisors, networks, institutions, information, and relationships simultaneously, a hidden architecture beneath society. And maybe that explains why major decisions often seem mysterious publicly. The full process is rarely visible, because modern governments operate on multiple levels at once continuously. Visible authority and invisible influence. The world most people see is only the surface layer politically. Beneath it exists another system, a system of strategy, information, coordination, and long-term planning, quietly shaping the modern world. And whether people realize it or not, those hidden layers influence nearly every aspect of modern civilization.